In lesson 3-5, we are going to be focusing on sequences. And before we really get too far into sequences, we need to talk a little bit about the notation that we use for sequences, along with some of the vocabulary. So first off, what a sequence is, it's an ordered list of numbers, pictures, letters, geometric figures, or just about any other object that you can think of that follows a pattern. Each number, figure, or object is going to be called a term in the sequence. And so we can conveniently see which is each piece and which is each term. The terms of the sequences are often separated by commas. We can also think of a sequence as a function whose inputs consist of consecutive natural numbers. So that means our domain of our sequences is going to be all natural numbers. And with sequences, we're going to use a new notation called sequence notation. And in sequence notation, we refer to terms like this. So we would list them as A1, A2, A3. We would read that A sub 1, and A sub 1 represents the first term in the sequence. We would read this as A sub 2. It represents the second term in the sequence. And then if we were going to go a little bit more generic, A sub n is going to represent the nth term in the sequence, where a lot of times you might see this called the current term. A sub n minus 1 is going to represent what we call the previous term. And then the subscript in each name is called the index. And what I mean by subscript is that little number that I was saying after the A's, the A sub 1, A sub 2. That's why we call it A sub 1, because the sub is short for subscript. Alright, and in an arithmetic sequence, a common number called the common difference is going to be represented by the letter D, and it's added to each term to get the next sequence. So basically, to sum that up in layman's terms, is in a sequence, if you are adding the same thing every time, that number that you're adding is going to be what we call the common difference. And if you are adding the same thing every time, then that is going to make it a special sequence called an arithmetic sequence. And that's what we're going to focus on mainly in this lesson. So looking at the examples, we want to tell whether the sequences below are arithmetic. If so, what is the common difference? So we just got done saying that to be arithmetic, they are going to have the same common difference, the same number that you're adding each time. So the easiest way to tell is to just take the second term and subtract the first term. That's going to give us 5. And then also do that with each term where you're subtracting the previous term away. So 15 minus 10 is 5. Do it again. 20 minus 15 is 5. And 25 minus 20 is 5. If that comes out to be the same, that means that you are adding the same amount every time. So our first example would be an arithmetic sequence. And then our common difference, also represented by the letter D, would be that 5 that we got every time. So let's check problem B, 1b. We're going to do the same little subtractions technique. 8 minus 4 gives me 4. 16 minus 8 gives me 8. So I can already see that I'm getting two different numbers here. So since I got two different differences, it's not a common difference. We're going to have to say that this is not arithmetic, and it would not have a common difference anymore, since it's not arithmetic. Alright, there are 3 of these for you to figure out whether they're arithmetic or not. Go ahead and stop the video, give these a try, and make sure to check your answers in the key provided in your classroom or on the website, and we'll see you in the next video. See you then.